Welcome back. This is some skill sets on Khan Academy under Algebra 1, and we're in the unit Quadratics Multiplying and Factoring. So this skill is called Factoring Quadratics with a Common Factor. That gives you kind of a hint. We're going to factor out the greatest common factor first, and then we'll take whatever next step we need to break this into binomial factors as well. So let's get started. We have 5x squared plus 20x minus 60. There is a common factor of 5. 5 is divisible by 5. 20 is divisible by 5. 60 is divisible by 5. So we can take the greatest common factor of 5 out. Also, there's an x term. There's an x in this term, there's an x in this term, but there's not an x in that constant, so we can't factor out x. All right, so 5 times x squared gives us 5x squared. 5 times 4x gives us 20x. And 5 times negative 12 gives us negative 60. Now we want to factor this polynomial into a set of binomials, so it'll look like this. 5 times a binomial times another binomial. Our first term will be x times x, and then we need a constant that gives us 12 for a product and 4 when we add the product of the outside terms and the product of the inside terms. So 12 can be factored into 1 times 12, 2 times 6, or 3 times 4. Okay? So one of those sets of numbers is going to be here. Then we need to look at our sign. We're getting a negative constant, which means we had to multiply a positive times a negative, or a negative times a positive. Okay? So positive times a negative. That means it could be 1 times negative 12, or negative 1 times 12. That would give us negative 12. So each of these is plus or minus, plus or minus, plus or minus. Okay, each of those is plus or minus. Now, we get the inside term by doing this x times this. So we get x times something over here, we'll call it b. And we're going to add this term times this x, x times, we'll call it a. Okay, so if you factor that, you get x times b plus a. Okay, so when I multiply these factors, I'm going to get negative 12. But when I add the factors, when I add them, I have to get whatever this term is right here. Some number of x's has to equal 4 x's. So if I add 1 and negative 12, I'll get negative 11. If I reverse the signs, I'll get positive 11. So this is not going to give me a 4. So that's not okay. If I have positive 2 and negative 6, that'll be negative 4. This is positive, so that's not right. But if I reverse that and say it's negative 2 plus 6, that will give me 4. So this right here is true. And just to confirm, 3 and 4 won't work because negative 3 plus 4 is 1. And 3 minus 4 is negative 1, so that's not okay. So these are our numbers, and we need to figure out which one's positive, which one's negative. Well, the bigger number has to be positive so that when we add them, we get a positive. So 6 is our positive, so 6 is a. We can put that right here. And 2 is B. So we have 5 times x plus 6 times x minus 2. So x times x is x squared, plus 6x minus 2x is 4x. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. And we're done. We'll put that information in here. 5 times x plus 6 times x minus 2. Now, if I were you, I would pause this video, try and solve this the same way we did the last one. First step will be factoring out the greatest common factor. Second step will be taking the polynomial and breaking it into 2 binomial factors. We'll do that now. I'll assume you've paused and tried yourself. So the highest factor here is 4. So we'll factor that out. 4 times x squared minus 7x plus 10. 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times negative 7x is negative 28x. And 4 times 10 is 40. Now, we need to make that polynomial into 2 factors, each being a binomial. So we get x times x is x squared. We need 2 numbers whose product is 10. Okay, so 10 can be made 1 times 10 or 2 times 5. We look at our sign and we see a positive product, which means I'm either multiplying 2 positives or I'm multiplying 2 negatives. Negative times a negative is a positive. Now when I add the product of the inner terms to the product of the outer terms, I have to get a negative number. Well, if those are both positive and I add them, I'll get a positive number, so it's not positive. If I have the negative number and another negative number, when I add, I'll get another negative number. So this is negative and negative. So negative, some number of negative x's minus another number of negative x's has to equal negative 7x. All right? Those values here and here have to either be a 1 and a 10 or a 2 and a 5. Well, negative 10 plus negative 1 is negative 11. So that's not okay. So these must be 2 and 5. X times x is x squared. Negative 2x minus 5x's is negative 7x. Negative 2 times negative 5 is 10. And again, all times 4. So 4, x minus 2, x minus 5, and we're done.